In the 15th century, a fierce prince ruled a small region in Eastern Europe called Wallachia. His name was Vlad III, but history remembers him as Vlad the Impaler. He wasn't a king, but his name spread across kingdoms like wildfire. Feared by his enemies and even by his own people, he became a legend. His brutal way of punishing criminals made him famous across Europe. He used fear as a weapon, showing no mercy to those who challenged him. Vlad's story is not just history, it's the seed of a dark myth. This man became the real-life inspiration behind Count Dracula. Vlad was born in 1431 in Transylvania, a land full of mountains and forests. His father, Vlad II, was part of the Order of the Dragon, a group that fought the Ottoman Turks. That's where the nickname Dracula comes from. It means son of the dragon. From an early age, Vlad was thrown into a world of war and politics. As a child, he was sent as a hostage to the Ottomans for political reasons. There he learned their language, culture, and tactics, but also developed hatred. His time as a prisoner shaped his cold and ruthless personality. He grew up determined to protect his land at any cost. When Vlad returned to Wallachia, he wasn't the same boy who had left. He fought to reclaim his father's throne, which had been stolen by rivals. With fire in his eyes, he crushed his enemies without hesitation. He didn't just punish, made examples out of those who betrayed him. One of his favorite methods was impalamenta, slow, painful death. Victims were skewered on wooden stakes and left to die publicly. This horrifying act gave him the name Vlad the Impaler. It also became a warning. Betrayal would not be forgiven. Vlad ruled with an iron fist, but his land was full of enemies. The biggest threat came from the mighty Ottoman Empire. They demanded tribute, but Vlad refused to bow to them. Instead, he launched surprise attacks deep into Ottoman lands. He used guerrilla tactics, ambushes, and scorched earth methods. His cruelty shocked even the hardened warriors of the Turks. Once, he impaled over 20,000 prisoners outside his capital. When the Ottomans saw it, they turned back in fear. To his supporters, Vlad was a national hero, a protector. He defended Christian Europe from the Muslim Ottomans. He kept crime low and punished corruption harshly. Even the poor admired him for his fairness in some areas. But his methods were too violent for many to accept. Stories of his cruelty spread through German pamphlets. They told of a man who drank blood and feasted among corpses. These tales laid the foundation for the Dracula legend. In the late 1800s, Irish author Bram Stoker wrote Dracula. He wanted a dark, mysterious villain from Eastern Europe. When he read about Vlad the Impaler, he found the perfect model. Stoker didn't copy the real Vlad exactly, he added fiction. His Dracula was a vampire, undead and bloodthirsty. But the name, the location, and the inspiration came from Vlad. The cruel prince became the world's most famous monster. A mix of fact and fiction created a timeless myth. Stoker's Dracula lived in a castle in the Carpathian Mountains. He had powers of transformation and could control minds. Unlike Vlad, this Dracula drank blood to stay alive. But like Vlad, he was terrifying, cunning, and powerful. The novel became a hit and introduced Dracula to the world. Soon, plays and films brought the character to new audiences. By the 20th century, Dracula had become a pop culture icon. But few knew he was based on a real historical figure. Back in Romania, opinions about Vlad are still divided. Many view him as a national hero who saved his people. Statues of Vlad stand proudly in cities like Targovishte. Tourists visit his castles, searching for Dracula's roots. Historians debate how much of his legend is true. Some say the stories were exaggerated by his enemies. Others believe his cruelty was even worse than reported. Either way, he left a deep mark on history and folklore. Vlad's enemies described him as a demon in human form. They said he would dine among the impaled corpses. Some claimed he dipped his bread in the blood of victims. But such stories were likely meant to destroy his image. Germany and Hungary spread these tales through printed books. They painted Vlad as a monster to turn people against him. In truth, he was both a tyrant and a skilled strategist. History often blurs the line between truth and legend. Impalement wasn't just about punishment, it was psychological warfare. Vlad used it to terrify both local nobles and foreign invaders. When people feared him, they were less likely to rebel. Fear became his strongest tool, more powerful than armies. But it also isolated him from allies and neighbors. His reign was filled with blood, but also stability. He kept Wallachia independent in a time of great danger. It came at a terrible price, paid in thousands of lives. Vlad's death is surrounded by mystery and betrayal. He was killed in battle or assassinated by rivals no one knows for sure. His head was sent to the Ottoman Sultan as proof. His body was buried, but the exact location is still debated. Some say he rests at a monastery in Snegov Island. Others believe his remains were moved or lost over time. The mystery only adds to his dark legend. Even in death, Vlad refuses to be forgotten. Today, Dracula is seen as a creature of the night. Movies show him as elegant, deadly, and seductive. But behind that fiction lies a real man with a brutal legacy. Vlad ruled through fear, but also protected his people. He lived in a time when cruelty was part of politics. To survive, he became more terrifying than his enemies. Dracula drinks blood, but Vlad spilled it. And that made him unforgettable. Tourism in Romania thrives on Vlad's dark fame. Bran Castle is marketed as Dracula's castle, though he never lived there. Visitors come to explore the places tied to his story. Museums display weapons, armor, and old documents. Guides tell chilling tales of his punishments and battles. The line between fact and myth attracts curious travelers. Even after centuries, Vlad's legend brings money to his homeland. It's a strange legacy built on fear and fascination. Writers, filmmakers, and gamers continue to reinvent Dracula. From horror movies to television shows, he evolves with time. Sometimes he's a monster, sometimes a tragic hero. But Vlad's influence never disappears from the story. He gave Dracula a face, a name, and a terrifying history. That blend of reality and fiction makes the tale last. Dracula isn't just a vampire, he's a piece of human history. And it all started with a prince who ruled with terror. Vlad the Impaler was more than a cruel ruler. He was a symbol of power, fear, and resistance. His methods were brutal, but his impact was massive. He defended his land, inspired legends, and shaped horror stories. Dracula's fangs may be fiction, but Vlad's stakes were real. His story teaches us about the dark side of leadership and reminds us that even monsters can be born from history. Vlad's name will echo forever in history and nightmares.